Capcom presents.
Hello, 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 welcome back to all of the Street Fighters, and I hope you're not bored of the Versus series, because this is a big one. We're looking at Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes. So we've looked at Versus games before, we've looked at X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Street Fighter. This is Marvel vs. Capcom, which of course means that this isn't just a Street Fighter roster on the Capcom side. Capcom have opened it out to the whole Capcom universe. Well, I say the whole Capcom universe. The roster is fairly manageable. It's not silly. In Marvel vs. Capcom 2, the sequel, the roster started getting silly. But it's pretty manageable here. Although, even saying that isn't strictly true. But anyway, let's take it bit by bit, starting, as we always do, with the characters. So I'll start with the Capcom side, because in Marvel vs. Capcom, that's the new and exciting thing, because we've got this kind of new cast of characters from other games that aren't just Street Fighter. So in alphabetical order, we've got Captain Commando, who is from the game Captain Commando. We've got Chun-Li, from Street Fighter, of course. We've got Mega Man from Mega Man, or Rockman if you're in Japan. We've got Jin from Cyberbot's Full Metal Madness. Morrigan from Darkstalkers, so that's just ripped from another Capcom fighting game. We've got Ryu, of course, from Street Fighter. We've got Strider from the game Strider, which is amazing. And we've got Zangief from Street Fighter. So there's only actually 3 Street Fighter characters that are playable in this game. That's Ryu, Chun-Li, and Zangief, but totally still counts, it's still a Street Fighter game. And then on the Marvel side, we've got Captain America, we've got Gambit, Hulk, Spider-Man, Venom, War Machine, and Wolverine. So there are playable characters. They're the characters that we see on the character select screen. The other side to Marvel vs. Capcom, which is new, is this idea of special partners. So in the previous games, you could call in your partner character to help out and to do a special move. You'll remember that from looking at the previous Versus games. In this, you choose, well, you don't choose, you get a third character. So you choose your tag team, your 2 characters, and then you're randomly given a special partner. And there's tons of these. And they're from Marvel games, they're from Capcom games, and the important thing is that you can't select this. And this is a character that you can call in whenever you want by pressing down medium punch and medium kick together. They'll jump in, do an attack, and jump out. So, I mean, I'm not going to list them all because there's tons, but this is characters like Cyclops and Iceman from X-Men. You've got Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins and Ghouls and Ghosts. You've got Tongpu, who is another character from Strider. You've got Unknown Soldier Blue, who's from Forgotten Worlds. You've got all these different characters. But as I say, you can't select these, they're just randomly given to you. So, with talking about that, we're talking about the special partners, we've actually talked about the first major gameplay change, which is the special partner system. That's quite an overhaul from the previous games, where you could call in your other character. This, you've got this third character that you call in. And importantly, your special partner can only be called in a limited number of times. So you'll see on the screen, you've got a tiny icon under your health bar of your partner, and a number, which is how many times they can be called in. So the second major gameplay change in Marvel vs. Capcom is the duo team attack, which is totally awesome. This is super cool. So in a nutshell, what it is when you've got 3 bars of your super combo meter, you can do a down to back motion on your stick, and you press heavy punch and heavy kick at the same time, and both of your characters will jump in at the same time, and you control them both. And while they're on screen, you've got unlimited use of your super meter. So all of a sudden you've got 3 characters on screen. You're controlling 2 of them, just attacking the 2 people. You've got a really brief amount of time to do it. But you're just unloading all your super combos, and you're jumping and attacking, and it's just chaos. And for me, there's nothing more descriptive of the Versus games, particularly the Marvel vs. Capcom games, than chaos. Just tons of things on screen, loads of explosions, loads of flashing colours, and the duo team attack is just a massive example of this. It's really cool to be able to control both your characters at the same time. So as we've talked about in previous videos, the console port by which I mean the PlayStation port, is a pale imitation of the arcade game. As always, the PlayStation version is just massively disappointing. There's no Saturn version of Marvel vs. Capcom, but we would presume that it would be more or less arcade perfect. The PlayStation version, as always, you haven't got the tag system, and without the tag system, this game's it's so reduced in scope. So you can't do the duo tag. Your second character that you choose, they're literally in an assist role only, so you can just call them in to do a move and that's it. You can't switch characters on the fly. You can only change in between rounds. They added in this mode to try and make up for this, called the crossover mode, where you pick a character and then your second character mirrors your opponent, so that the game doesn't have to hold 4 characters in its memory. It only holds 2. But you've each got the same characters, so you can switch your characters there whenever you want. But your teams are going to be just the same; they're going to be identical. So it's not really a good compromise. But if you only had a PlayStation, this is the version you could play. I love Marvel vs. Capcom. I mainly love Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which we'll get to in a future video. But Marvel vs. Capcom is obviously the first game that brings in these other Capcom characters like Strider and like Mega Man, and it's just awesome. Being able to play Mega Man in a Street Fighter game, tagging with Ryu and fighting Incredible Hulk and Spider-Man. It's just really, really cool, and the way they've developed these characters so that they work in a Street Fighter game. I mean, it was amazing when they did that with X-Men and with the Marvel characters, and they've just taken that on further with the rest of the Capcom lineup, and it's just unbelievable. Like, what a good job they did. You know, this shouldn't have worked so well, but when you're playing Mega Man and you do your super combo, and he just turns into his massive robot form and just unleashes all his missiles. It's perfect. It just fits in the Street Fighter universe. It's totally brilliant. So there's kind of weirdly little to talk about with Marvel vs. Capcom, Clash of Superheroes. For such an important entry in the series, there's not a great deal for me to talk about. There's those 2 main gameplay changes, the special partner system and the duo team attack. And then there's the handful of new characters, and I mean, all of the special partner characters are kind of, when you look at them on paper, this looks like a huge character roster, but you know, they're not playable characters. You can't even select them, so it's weird. It's a massively important game. I can't understate like how huge this game was, and I remember seeing this in the arcade for the very first time and playing it. And it blew my mind, and it's so exciting, but I feel weird that I can't sit here and talk about any more stuff, because that's it, really. But I would urge you to play Marvel vs. Capcom. It's probably one of the harder ones to get hold of, because there's only a PlayStation port, which, as I say, I wouldn't recommend. But if you've got access to MAME on your computer and you can play it, I think Marvel vs. Capcom is totally worth playing now. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was much easier to get hold of. A lot of people played that on Dreamcast. It was a hugely popular game on Dreamcast, and it later released on Xbox 360 and PS3 and whatever. But we'll get to that. We're not talking about Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I think Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes stands up. I think it's awesome, and I really recommend you trying to find it and trying to play it if you can. So that was Marvel vs. Capcom. It's really exciting to get into these later versus games, because they're almost like dream lineups. You know, I would always imagine what I would want Capcom to create next, and I always wanted them to make a DC game, which obviously other companies ended up doing with the Mortal Kombat versus DC games and whatever. But I was always a DC fan, so I always wanted like Batman and Superman in these games. But what they did with the Marvel license and with their huge Capcom universe, it's just awesome, and I think they're really exciting, and I'm assuming that you probably do too, otherwise you wouldn't be watching the video. So yeah, our quest to look at all of the Street Fighter games continues. Every Thursday I'm uploading these, so check out some of the previous videos if you haven't seen them all. There's a playlist with all of them on. I don't know how many we've done now, 15, 16? We've looked at tons. We've missed a few of the minor entries, but most of the mainline games we've looked at so far. And yeah, it rolls on. So join me next Thursday, and I can't wait to see you. All right, bye. Bye.